See, we created a non-static methods and non-static variables. But we have a main method. Main method is of type static. Both are a different category. How can we call? Static you can call directly. Static variables and static methods you can call anywhere. In any method you can call directly. But this main method, if you call, then only code will execute, right? Otherwise it won't execute. Even if you just write, it won't accept it. Your code, see, I didn't write anything in the main method. These methods won't execute until unless you call them in this main method. So they won't execute. Then how we can execute them? So this is both a different category. One is this is the main is a static, and these are all non-static category. But how can we call the non-static variables, non-static methods? These are all non-static variables. As I mentioned clearly, non-static variables you cannot call in static methods. Even non-static methods also you cannot call directly. See, if you try to call directly, it will throw error. So if you call directly, it will throw error. See, you're getting error here. This is a compile time error. Mouse over on the method name. What is the error it is saying? Read that carefully. Cannot make a static reference to the non-static method type cast demo from the type non-static members demo. Is clearly saying you cannot call non-static method inside the static method. So that's the meaning of this statement. Then how can we do that? So I have to call them. Non-static members I have to call. How can I call that? So let's go in detail one by one. So I'll give you in detailed description about how can we call non-static variables and non-static methods in the main method or anywhere. So see that I have given very, very clearly here. See, read this. How can we access or execute non-static members under main method or any other static method or any other place also? One non-static
I think we lost you, Ramesh. So me or
Okay. So sorry guys, I'm back. So, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ramesh.
Yeah, I was discussing on how can we call the non-static methods, non-static variables in the main method. So same class or in another class, it doesn't matter. Anywhere, if you want to call non-static methods in the static method or in some other class or some other package class, anywhere, if you want to call non-static member of any class, so you have to create an object for the class. So what you need to do, you have to create object for the class. See, this is the first point here. How can you access or execute non-static members under main method or any other static method? So anywhere, if you want to call one class non-static variables and non-static methods, first we need to create an object for that class. So how to create object for a class? Using new keyword. So wherever you use new keyword, that is called object. So the object creation syntax is class name reference variable equal to new class name parenthesis semicolon. So that's the how can we create an object for a class, the syntax. So this is a local variable syntax, right? Can you see here? Class also a data type. So what kind of data type class? Class is a what kind of data type? What are the data types? What are the different data? What are the different data types?
Primitive and non-primitive.
Class comes under which type? Which data type?
Primitive data type. Primitive data type. Non-primitive.
Non-primitive.
What are the primitive data types?
Integer car. Integer. Character. Double long.
But where is the class in the primitive? So many people are telling primitive data type. It's not in the primitive data list, right?
It's non-primitive.
Then why are you confusing there? Very clearly given primitive only 8 data types. Boolean, char, byte, short, int, long, float, double. These are the 8 primitive data types. What are the non-primitive data types? Any class.
String, array,
String, array, enum, interface, all this comes under non-primitive data type. Those are also data types. So this class comes under non-primitive data type. I clearly told what is the primitive and non-primitive difference. Primitive, you can store only one data, but non-primitive, you can store multiple data types, multiple members. So class inside you have many members. That's why it's a non-primitive data type. See data type, so variable name. What is the assignment operator will do?
Copy right side value.
Copy the value from one
Right side value to the left side value.
Right side value. This means a new class name is the value. What is the value? Object address. New class name parenthesis is there, right? That's an object address. So that object address will store in this reference variable. So what the reference variable will hold? The reference variable will holds the address of the object. Please catch this is the very, very important. I want everyone to explain this point. Class is a non-primitive data type. Reference variable is a local variable type. So this is the assignment operator. New is the keyword or operator which is used to create an object. What is the purpose of new keyword? Which will create an object. And class name parenthesis is called default constructor. So class name parenthesis, if you put, this part is called only default constructor. But then what do you call this entire part? This new class name parenthesis is called object. That object is have some memory address. That memory address is the integer number. So where the objects will store? The heap memory. So heap memory, the objects will store. At runtime only objects will store. At runtime only objects will store. So that object has a one memory occupies in the heap area. When you call new class name parenthesis, that will occupy a memory in the heap. That has one integer address. That integer number is copied into this variable. Is copied into this variable. This variable it will copy. So that means all the members of this object you can call with this reference variable. This is the object reference. You can use this object reference to call all the members of this object. So they will store all the non-static variables and non-static methods only will store in that memory. Each non-static variable, each non-static method, you can call with this reference variable. How you will get the reference variable? By creating an object for the class. So that the object value you are storing in this reference variable. So what is the reference variable definition? Any variable pointing to the object or referring to the object is called reference variable. So reference variable holds the address of the object, heap memory address. Sorry. Heap memory address will store in this reference variable. That's what this assignment operator is doing, because this right field one is the heap memory address in the integer format. It will be there. That address will go store here. This variable pointing to this object, the heap memory object. Then you can call any of that memory members using this reference variable. So how can you call non-static method? Reference variable dot non-static method. How can you call non-static variables? Reference variable dot non-static variable. That is the process. Anywhere, same class or another class or another package class, it doesn't matter. The process is only one process for the non-static members. Are you clear now? Static members and non-static members how to call. This is the only difference you need to catch. If you want to call one class non-static members, any non-static method or non-static variable, first you have to create object for that class. First step. Second step, how can you create object for the class? Using new keyword. So what is the syntax? Class name space reference variable equal to new space class name parenthesis. Now in this each word you need to explain. If you have any doubts in this line, let me know. The first one is a class name, the left side. So this is the non-primitive data type. So reference variable is a variable which is pointing to object. That's called reference variable. So reference variable holds the address of the object. reference variable holds the address of the object. So this assignment operator copies the right side object address. This new class name is the object. New class name is the object in the heap memory. One memory created, that memory has one integer number. That integer number will go and store here. That's what the assignment operator is doing. A new keyword, every time you call new class name, a new memory will create in the heap. Like you take every time a new click, so it will occupy a memory, right, in your mobile or in your system. If you save some file, it will occupy some memory, right? The same way, every time you use new class name, so new memory will create every memory address will be different. Every memory address is different. It's not same. So if I call one more time, class name reference variable 2 equal to new class name, new memory will create. So first one, this line memory address is different. Second time you created a new class name one more time, that memory address is different. Both are not same. This is an interview question also. So variable 1 class name, variable 1 equal to new class name, parenthesis semicolon, 1 memory. Class name variable 2 equal to new class name, parenthesis. So is v1 double equal to v2? If they ask you, so the output should be false, you will get, because both are not same. That memory address is different, this memory address is different. Both are different memories. Every memory address is a different number, different integer number you will get. So that's why both are not same. Both are different memories. Like new file, if you create a new memory will create, right? Same way here. Every time you call new class name parenthesis, that's the new object. New memory will create in the heap. Is this clear for everyone? New class name is, this entire thing is called object. Who is doing that object creation? New keyword is creating the object for the class. But what is this class name parenthesis? This is the default constructor. Default constructor. So that's the, how can you call? Now once you create object, then you can call all the non-static members and non-static methods using this reference variable. So reference variable dot non-static method. Reference variable dot non-static variable. There is one more concept, anonymous object. So what is anonymous object? Anonymous object means an object without reference variable. Here you have a reference variable, right? But create an object for a class without reference variable. That is called anonymous object. That means this part won't be there, this left part. So only this one will be there. So this one only if you write a new class name parenthesis, that is called anonymous object. Anonymous means no reference variable for that. So no reference, directly object. That is called anonymous object. See, this is the one, anonymous object. New class name. This is called anonymous object. See, no reference variable left part. And how can you call with anonymous object your non-static methods and non-static variables? See, this is the one, new class name dot non-static method 1. If you want to call one more method, again you have to create one more object, new class name dot non-static method 2. Now here, how many objects creating here?
2.
2 objects are creating. That means you are wasting memory, right? But if you want to call same class multiple members, and this process you have to use only one object, the same object you can use to call all the members of this class, non-static method 1, non-static variable, non-static method 2, non-static method 3 with the same reference with one object you can call. This is the, then you can use this format is with a single object, you want to call all the members of that class, non-static members of that class. Then you have to go for object with reference variable. You want to call only one method, one non-static method, then go for anonymous object. So only in single line you can finish entire object creation and method calling also. This is the object creation. And method calling also will be done in single line. So that advantage here is you can reduce the number of lines of code here. But here, if you want to call single method, this is not suggestible. If you want to call more than one member of non-static member of that class, this is suggestible. So with reference variable, you call reference variable dot non-static method, reference variable dot non-static method. Because single object you are creating, and with that object reference, you are calling all the non-static methods and non-static variables. That's why this you can use only when you are calling more than one non-static method and non-static variable of that class. That is object with reference variable. So you can create an object without reference variable. That is called anonymous object. So anonymous object dot non-static method, which is if you want to call more methods, more non-static variables, which one you need to use? With reference variable or without reference variable? Anonymous object or without? With reference variable you have to use. So this is the one. So we are going to follow that now. Let's go and do that same. Let's apply, because we have already non-static variables and non-static methods, right? Now we need to apply that. So how we can call them in the same class? So same class, how can we call? So that's what we are going to see. Let's go and target that. So this is the non-static. You have to create object. For a static, you don't need to create object. You can call with the class name, or you can call with so directly you can call in the same class. But if it is in the another class, you will refer class name dot static variable and class name dot static method. But non-static, first you have to create object for the class. Then you will create reference variable dot non-static method you will call. Reference variable dot non-static variable you will call. So anywhere if you want to call non-static variables, you have to use a reference variable. Then dot that variable name, that method name. You should not use object for the static members. Object is only for non-static variables and non-static methods only. Because static variables will store in which memory? Which memory?
Stack.
Local variable will store where then?
Stack.
Then static variables will store in which memory then? You're not referring old topics.
Heap memory.
In the heap memory.
Static also.
No, non-static, sir.
Non-static heap, okay, but static where it will store? That's what my question. Did you remember all the memory areas? This is what, even we are going slowly also. You're forgetting the old topics. What should I do? Basics, if you don't have, then what you can do? You cannot do anything, guys. I'm telling you frankly. And you're really wasting. Yeah. So let's see first. I'm going to create object for a class. Create object for a class. Class, what is the class name? Non-static members demo is the class name. Using new keyword. Using new keyword. So the syntax is class name, reference of object
Reference object,
equal to new class
class
name.
name.
So let me explain you here all the parts. If you want, make a note this. So left part. So this one is called class name. It's a data type. Class is so non-primitive data type. Reference of object is so a variable which is pointing to object, so which holds the heap memory address. So what is stored in the reference object? The heap memory address, which is an integer number. Memory address is integer number. Okay, it's an integer number. Then what is this assignment operator will do?
Copy the right side value.
Copies
Right side value to
right side object heap memory address to the left side
left side.
reference variable. Okay, so next new. What is new keyword is doing? So which creates object for the class. Then what is class name parenthesis, which is a default constructor. You are calling the constructor in the object line itself. So what do you call this? New class name parenthesis. So this is an object. This is an object. So what do you call new class name parenthesis? Entire part is called object. Not new is an operator. So new is an operator. Is an operator which is used to create an object for the class. New is an operator which is used to create an object for the class. So only class name parenthesis is what we call this, which is a default constructor. So new class name parenthesis is called, what is this? This is an object. The entire part is called, new class name is called an object. So you got all the parts right in this. Tomorrow you need to explain me this one. Okay, so let's move on now. So I'm going to create this. I'm going to follow this. So our class name is, this is our class name. So let's follow this. Class name first. The class name place. So I have given my class name. Which class you want to create object? That class name I have given. Next, what is that? Reference of object. So you can take any first two letter, every word first letter you can take. So I can take NS OBJ. That means NS object, a reference variable name I am giving. Variable name I am giving. So assignment operator also I have written. Variable name also I have given. So that is done. Next, what is the next keyword after assignment operator? What is the next keyword after assignment operator?
New.
New, as it is new, right? New after space is there. Give the space. So space after what is that?
Class name. Non-static
Yeah.
member
The
name.
class name is the one that is called constructor. Sir, where you have created constructor, here no constructor. Even though if you don't create a constructor in the class, the compiler will create one default constructor. The compiler will create one default constructor. The compiler will create one default constructor. That's why you are able to call here. So inbuilt default constructor will be there for every class. Inbuilt. Even if you don't create also, the compiler will create default constructor for us. By default, it is available. Okay. So now everything is ready. See, as per this formula. So now this is an object. This object address stored here. Now, if you want to know what is the integer number stored, what is the memory address? This memory address in this reference variable, if you want to know, so let me give you that. There is a object class method is there. That is hash code method. If you call hash code method with this object reference variable, you will get the memory address. You will get the memory address. What is the memory in the heap? This is stored. Then what will store? Every member of this class, every non-static variable and non-static method will go and store in this memory address. In this memory address. I'll show you in short. So if you want to know the memory address, heap memory address, so use object class hash code method. Hash code method is the default method already created in the object class. It's a return type method which returns integer number. So which returns hash code method return type. What is the return type of a hash code method? So which returns integer. So as I told you already, any method returns, first you have to write return type of that method, right? So this is the hash code method how you need to call. So val equal to object reference dot hash code method. Now we'll get the memory address. So that same I'm going to call. So am I following the same? So that this hash code method returns the integer value. So integer. So NSOBJ memory value equal to NS object memory value equal to this object reference dot, because the hash code is also non-static method. That's why you are calling with object hash code. See, hash code is a method. It's a non-static method. And what is the return type of this method? Integer. And which class this is created? In the object class. So that you are calling. Now you can print what is the value in this. NSOBJ heap memory address. Heap memory address is plus. So this variable inside the memory address is stored. Just print that. So see, now you can call. So you execute this code. You'll come to know. So what is the run as Java application. See, every object has a new integer number. See, this is the integer number. So this is the integer number stored here. This is the integer number stored in the NSOBJ object. NSOBJ, this value is there. This is the heap memory address. So this is the heap memory address. So with this reference, now I'm going to call one by one methods. So one by one methods I'm going to call. The first method is everything formulas are given. How can you call non-static void method under main method in the same class? Non-static void method without parameters. So what is the answer? Object reference dot non-static method. Everything you have nice formulas. So you don't need to struggle also. Anybody can do this, right? If you have formulas, just replacing the values, right? Answer, what is the object reference? NSOBJ. So put NSOBJ dot, see, automatically methods will show here. Typecasting demo, right? See, the method name is automatically showing. This method is a void method without parameters. It is in this class, non-static member demo class. In this memory, it is there. That's why it is visible. So now I can execute the code. Let's execute. Right click on the program, run as a Java application. So okay, run it. See, all the code is executed. This is a B, and a B hash code is 98. C plus X expression output is P. F1 integer value is 5. See, that method executed for us. That entire method executed for us. So next, the second method. How can you call non-static void parameterized method under main method in the same class? So what is the answer? Object reference dot non-static method with the parameter values. Everything, clean formulas are readily available for you. Even you don't need to struggle also, just to follow that. So what is the reference variable? You should know. First, what is the reference variable? Object reference variable is NSOBJ. NSOBJ dot swap. This is the only void method. See here, you're getting here. Void method with the 2 parameters in this class. So call that. So I'm going to give value 45 and second value 20. Any values you give, so it has to swap. See, run this program. See all the values how you are storing. So how you are calling. See, before swapping X value 45, Y value 20. After swapping X value become 20, Y value become 45. So this is the another very important. All the both void methods are done. Void methods you don't need to return, right? But so now return type method. This is a very important formula. Several times you will use this formula. By heart this. I'm telling you all these formulas by heart. Even write 100,000 times until you get in your mind. This is the one several times. You see, I have used the same formula here, a hash code method. Hash code method, same this formula. So I'm writing the same formula for this. Return type method, any return type method, non-static return type method. So what is the answer? So data type of the method, variable name equal to object reference dot return type non-static. The same formula I applied for hash code or not? See that? Return type of the method, variable name equal to object reference dot return type non-static method. This is the formula. So now see what is the methods we need to call. I want to call get max. So these are the return type methods, right? We have 2 return type methods, get max float value, get random. So I'll call this get max float value. What is the return type of this method? What data it is returning? What is the return type of this method?
Float.
Float. Float is the return type. So I'm going to write float. So float. So max val equal to, and I'm going to call NSOBJ dot get max float value. These are the parameters. You have to give parameter values. Give parameter values. I'll give 4.5 if (10.23) if. So now the max value will store here in the given two integer number, in given two float values. Max float values. So this is the return type methods how to call max val. You're getting 10.23 is the max in the given 4.5 and 10.23. So you got the output. So we didn't do anything. We just your method is calculating and giving you the output to you. How can you call for the return type method in the print statement? So only return type methods you can call, right? See, return type methods only I can call. Sits out, and I can call so random integer value is. That's my readable statement within double quotations. Then plus my method I need to call. So non-static method, how can I call? Object reference dot get random integer value. See that? See, this method is returning integer type, but I can call in the print statement. Either you can follow this formula you can use, or you can call in the print statement inside also. Directly it will print the value. See, if you right click and run the program. See, 81. You run again one more time. A different integer number you will get. You will get a different integer number. So what is that? 64 you got. So you want to run one more time? Every time you will get a new data. That's the dynamic data. If you want to get, you should create a return type methods. That's what where in our web pages, you want to get the data from your web page. Always you have to create a return type methods. This is where the importance in our web testing, web application testing. You want to get data, you should create the return type methods. That you should know. That's why I'm giving here syntaxes and everything. This is where you are going to use. Yeah. So next, last scenario. The variable. How can you call? How can you call non-static variables? How can you call non-static variables? See, let's see. I'll put so double result equal to NSOBJ dot. See, all the variables it will list out for me. Reference variable I have given wrong. See, D plus NSOBJ dot. Next variable C plus NSOBJ dot F1. NSOBJ dot X. So these are all the. See how I'm calling non-static variables with object reference. With object reference dot non-static variable. Object reference dot non-static variable. Object reference dot non-static variable. So this is the how you can call any non-static variables with object reference only. You can call sum of D comma C comma F1 comma X is plus result. So this is how to call non-static variables in the same class. So what is the difference between static and non-static? You got it now? How we are calling a static in the same class? How we are
Class.
calling static? In the same class. How we are calling static variables in the same class?
Class name dot.
Can call them directly.
You can call them directly. Same class, why you need class name? Then where is your concepts all gone? Hmm? I don't want to. Tomorrow, so